Hey everybody, I'm John Granato. You can hear me mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. That's Josh Jordan. You can hear him weekends on Moneyline on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. He's also the editor of SportsMapHouston.com, so read his stuff. And if you haven't hit subscribe, please do so you get all of our content here on YouTube. Hey, Josh, after the Lovie Smith announcement this past week, our midday host, Jeremy Branham, said on his show he's tired of defending Nick Caserio. A lot of people assumed Caserio, with 20 years of experience, was just going to hit the ground running. How much of what you're seeing in his decision-making is due to the inexperience as being the guy in the organization?
I think that's a big part of the issue, is that we just assume that he had all those years with the Patriots and he has all this experience, but you know, as you mentioned, the final call has never been up to him until now. So that's why I thought the Cully hiring didn't make a lot of sense, because you're putting a first-time GM with a first-time head coach, and not just a first-time head coach, a guy that had never been a coordinator. So that's kind of where I had an issue with. You know, don't you want to cover it, spread it out a little bit to where you have some experience and then you have some new blood in there? I think that's really important. And that's why, you know, when he spoke about McCown making it so far in the process and, you know, how they don't want to eliminate anybody based on experience, the thing I think he's missing is that he's also inexperienced. Yeah. And McCown is also inexperienced. And putting those things together, that's an issue. You know, when he worked with Belichick, he had Belichick to be that guy with experience, a great defensive mind to work with. So that's where I think he's kind of missing it. So when he brought up the comparison of, you know, John Lynch getting hired as GM with the 49ers with no experience and him going with Shanahan, well, Shanahan had in his contract that he had final say, and Shanahan had years of experience as a coordinator, so that's where I kind of think he might be missing the boat there a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I don't think Nick Caserio has done a bad job. Sure, the Cully thing was a big mess up, giving him $22 million, but I think Nick Caserio knows that's just a placeholder. I think Lovie Smith is just a placeholder. They know they're not going to win. They know that by the time it's said and done, it's going to be 2, 3, 4 years before they get on the winning side. And these guys are just going to be placed. What I'm worried about with Nick Caserio is finding good football players. And you know what? He didn't do a horrible job last year. I like Davis Mills. I like Nico Collins. I like Roy Lopez. I even like Wallow. I mean, these guys all contributed as rookies and played a little bit better than we all thought. Especially Davis Mills played a lot better than we thought. I'm going to still hold out on whether or not Nick Caserio is doing a good job. As far as the coaching hires go, you know, we'll see. Lovie Smith is a solid hire. He's a good football coach. So he's just here, though, until they can get Josh McCown, where they have to have Josh McCown. And you know, and he's taking the heat for firing Cully with multiple years left on his deal, too. But you know what? It's what the Texans do. They fired Brian Gaine with multiple years. They fired Bill O'Brien with multiple years. They fired Chris Olsen, their cap guy. They fired Mike Parsons, their equipment guy. Multiple years on their deal. The Texans don't care about paying guys with multiple years. But there's one common denominator in all of that, and that's Jack Easterby. I mean, honestly, Jack Easterby, if you're not on his team, you're out of there, and I don't care how much we have to pay you. This, to me, is more an Easterby thing than it is a Caserio thing.
100%. And that's what I want to say. I like Caserio. I like a lot of the things that he's doing. I like the hire, you know, the idea of him. Easterby is the common connector. We keep seeing that when this all started with the tampering with Nick Caserio, that was Easterby at that Patriots ring ceremony talking to him. And then they fire Brian Gaine the next day after that. I mean, how obvious can you make it? And then just a couple days later, they announced that they want to interview Caserio. And then every single one of these decisions were, hey, it looks like we're interviewing Bieniemy and we're interviewing Leslie Frazier, and then out of nowhere they hire Cully. And then this year it's like, hey, they have some decent candidates here. You know, who are they going to go with? And then out of nowhere, Lovie Smith, who nobody had been talking about. So to me, it feels like they have a plan, and then at the last minute, Easterby has his fingerprints on it, and then things go sideways.
Well, the plan is if you're not beholden to Jack Easterby, you're out of the organization. This is not, and it's not hyperbole, it is not rumor, it's a fact. You have got to be on Team Easterby, otherwise you're not going to be a Texan for long. Trust me. So that is the common denominator. That is who's wasting all of Cal's. When will Cal wake up? to realizing this is the guy that is wasting millions and millions and millions of his, I want to say hard-earned dollars, his dad's hard-earned dollars.